Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show. My name is Dave Juskow. I am here with Mike Suarez as well, and we bring you this show every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to promote the Comedy Cellar, the great Comedy Cellar, the best comedy club in the world. If you're ever in the West Village, come down to the Comedy Cellar and see the shows, or in Las Vegas with the great Mark Cohen. Well, I know we're just letting everybody kind of get in today. I will tell you, I am not feeling that great, and not well. I don't know where to be. I don't know if maybe we'll just wait like a couple of minutes to let everybody in. But well, maybe everybody can tell us what they're doing for their Passover and Easter plans in the meantime. But all right, so I'm not feeling that great. It's not COVID. I know that for a fact because I took a COVID test and I didn't even get a faint line. Apparently, that's the way it works. The directions are T. I got the perfect straight line that says we're testing for COVID, but not even a faint line. So I'm good about that. Oh, Marcy, right. And there's all the subway shootings today, and then of course, uh, our friend, yeah. Oh, thanks, Marcy. Yeah, and our friend Gilbert Gottfried died only hours ago here in New York City. Gilbert Gottfried was a friend to this show. We had him on multiple times. And he was a friend to my podcast, Just Go in the City, as well. He's on my 300th episode. Yeah, Angela, a bad day for New York City. It's funny. Catalina had called us like, "Oh, I heard there were some shootings in the subway." I said, "I told you those subways are awful." I mean, I keep talking about how I don't want to go on them. I mean, nobody expects that, shootings and stuff. Yeah. So besides also feeling under the weather, and today, believe me, I would. There's no reason. Oh, so remember, we were supposed to be at the Comedy Cellar today. Mike and I were supposed to be together, but because I'm not feeling that well, and we had 3 hours to kill before the Comedy Cellar holiday party, which is tonight. I'm like, you know what? It's better to just stay. Oh, and so go figure, there were no shows today. So none of the comics that would normally be around or might come in an hour earlier had no shows. So it's just a bad day to do it live there. But we will again whenever Mike's back in town, we'll figure that um we'll we'll figure that out another day, and we'll have a live thing because we could do it another time, right, Mike? Like whenever you're in town anyway.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, then I figured I'll just stay here and then the party starts at 10. So maybe I'll take a nap. I don't know. I'm so confused. I know it's not COVID, so that's good. But I rarely get under the weather. Like never. The last time I was sick was my birthday. I have a feeling again. Remember, I always tell you guys, or maybe you can listen to the Just Got in the City podcast. When I get sick when I party, and then go out. Now, I partied on Friday pretty hard. Do they still use those terms? And and then on Saturday I woke up. I didn't get enough sleep, and then Sunday I went out. And I think the weather has been a problem because on Friday night I came back late for under the weather means I'm sick, Catalina. Um, I never thought about that terminology, right, Mike? Yeah, it means you're not feeling very well. Um, so I think every time I come home, so Friday night I'm coming home like 4 in the morning. I get something to eat, and I take the bike home. It's freezing. When I leave the house, it's not freezing. Then it's freezing, and then it starts to rain, of course. And then on Sunday, I went out with my friend Sarah, and then I walked home. It was freezing, and then of course started to rain again. So there's like no way not to get sick. This weather is just killer for that. But now, besides that, let's talk about yes. Thank you, Barry. Right. So Gilbert Gottfried and his family. This is the exact opposite of Will Smith and his whole fucking family, as I'm saying from The Godfather 2. This family I enjoy a lot. I'm very, very close with Gilbert's wife, Dara, and this is a really sad situation. Gilbert was only 67. Angela, it's like an electric. It's a pedal assist bike. Um, anyway, you know, I guess I never thought me and Gilbert would be that close when I first met him in like 1995 or 4. The timeline would add up if I tell you that when I first met Gilbert, it was a Catch a Rising Star on 77th and First, who now I'm friends and who we've had on this show too, the owner of that club, Rick Newman, who just also had a bout with cancer. I mean, everybody's such a mess. But I remember meeting him. I remember what it was. David Spade was there too, and David Spade was just telling Gilbert, and for some reason I was there in the conversation, and he goes, "Well, they're starting to use me a little bit more on Saturday Night Live. They had me do the Michael J. Fox last week. It's just kind of funny." So that would be the timeline. So I guess David Spade was on Saturday Night Live, but he wasn't a regular yet. And then I remember I was friendly with Jon Stewart at the time, and I said to Gilbert, "Oh, John told me that when you guys were at the Princeton Catch a Rising Star, you went to a strip club afterwards." And what was the story? The woman said, "I'll do anything for money." So Gilbert gave her $20 and said, and whatever the story up to that was, that she was up for anything, and she was doing all this stuff the way these craftsmen of jokes tell a joke, which I am not good at. She's up for anything, and he gave her $20 and said, "Now sing the Star Spangled Banner." And then she just goes, "You guys are crazy." Which just shows you that yeah, I know. She thought Gilbert and Jon Stewart were crazy. That's the craziest thing she apparently heard. She was like, "All right, lick that guy's ass," or whatever. Like, okay, sing the Star Spangled Banner. The fuck kind of comment is that? Yeah, it was really good. And I remember meeting Gilbert and knowing him as a comic, and the kind of comic he was. I think I had gone to see him. He was already successful at the time. I had gone to see him at the old Carolines down at the South Street Seaport, where if you see the movie Working Girl, which I think takes place in 86 or 87, you can see a poster for Caroline's Comedy Club when she's coming out of you guys don't know the details of Working Girl the way I do. So Melanie Griffith's coming out of the place and getting the cab the first time with, "Get my coat. I need a little air." I mean, nobody knows the lines the way I do. Again, this will all be in that course I'm teaching at Montclair State University. However, so yeah, there's a thing for Caroline's, and that was the place. It was a fun place, and I saw Gilbert there a long time ago. And he, the way he is, he was that way all the time. The loudness, the and then when you met him in person, he was the quietest, mensch, I guess, just personable and, well, not personal. I don't know. You had to get it out of him to talk, but he was so quiet and serene, I guess. And just once he got on stage, he was a completely different person. So it was an act, kind of the way his other friend, Susie Essman, is on Curb Your Enthusiasm, where you get that, when she's playing that character of Susie. That's not Susie Essman. If you ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Susie Essman is the kindest, sweetest, quiet person, but it's an act. And Jessica Kirsten used the same verb, mensch. Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, Aaron. He was a force on stage. So, yeah, and then I guess we just started kind of becoming closer over the past 5 to 7 years, in the sense I became much closer with his wife. I guess once he started doing the podcast with my friend Frank, who's also been on the show with us, Frank Santapadre, who I spoke to on Sunday, and he was telling me all the details, and we didn't think he was going to make it through the weekend. Actually, I talked to Jeff Ross on Sunday, and he told me the whole story, because I invited Jeff over for Passover to my sister's house, and he said, I don't know what's happening because I'm not sure if Gilbert's going to make it. And I'm like, what? It just sounded so weird. But he'd been having a lot of medical issues over the past couple of months, and they moved to Florida during COVID, and then we'll come back into the city for checkups and stuff. And there's more I can tell you, I guess, when the word more stuff comes up. Catalina, you just made my day. Mike, please put that up. That is hello, everybody. Welcome to somebody from Chile. That is hilarious. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I want to take a screenshot of that and put it on everybody's feed. It's a Jewish holiday, Catalina. That's so funny. No, it's fine. Please don't apologize. Why should you know?
How do they say under the weather in Chile? Do they say like my donkey's by the fence? Or
how do you say under the weather in Chile, Catalina? Thank you, Marcy. Right, it made me laugh. I mean, even people that aren't Jewish know what Passover here because the Jews have really been in everybody's face.
To be fair, I'm not 100% on what it is either.
Oh well, what it is, and you can. Catalina says, "Mi siento come el dick." Whoa, that's probably why we can't say that in America. Are you sure you didn't mean to say sick? Estoy pal olla. Mi siento como el dick. Are you sure that's what you meant to say? Because that's pretty hilarious. You know who would appreciate this? Gilbert. Gilbert would have had the greatest time with what Catalina just wrote. We would have been here for 10 minutes of Gilbert's material.
That means my dick is hard.
Yeah, that is it true?
Yeah.
Did you just look that up?
Yeah.
Catalina, is Gilbert passing through your body? He just said that means my dick is hard. Mi siento como el dick. What are you doing over there? Oh my God, Gilbert would be so happy with this. He'd be so happy, right, Mike? If yes. You just wrote what is Passover, I swear to God, he'd have 15 minutes of material, right? Oh God, yeah. So Passover is this holiday that we celebrate. Jews were slaves in Egypt 5,000 years ago, and it's to celebrate. It's like Juneteenth, but for Jews, when the Egyptians and the Pharaoh let us go. And that is what it is. And we commemorate the freedom from slavery on that day, Passover. But of course, as you know, Jews love to celebrate the shit out of stuff. So it goes for 8 days, just like Hanukkah and Sukkot or Shavuot. I don't know. They have all these 8-day holidays, and I don't know why. The only thing that makes sense as an 8-day holiday to me, as I guess a semi-Jew, is Hanukkah, because the deal with Hanukkah was that they had enough oil to light this lamp for 1 day and it lasted for 8 days. Now that makes sense. For Passover, I can't understand the 8 days part. But you're supposed to eat, and believe me, when I was growing up, we had to just eat Passover food. You can't eat anything with yeast or flour. You have to eat matzahs and only specific things. And it was the worst. Right, Aunt Judy? Well, you never celebrated that. Your mother didn't make you do that, but our mother did. And it was just the worst because, we'd have to go to school and everybody would be eating the most delicious of things. And we couldn't even have breakfast cereal. And nowadays, they have kosher for Passover stuff. So it's a lot easier to do it. But back in the 70s, they didn't have anything like that. So my sister and I, yeah, well, Marcy, that's right. They didn't have enough oil, so there was a miracle worth celebrating. No, that's the thing. It lasted 8 days. Yeah. Christians stole Passover. What was I saying? It was about Passover. So, so my sister and I, we'd go to the mall, and then we'd always have to call my mother. Can you eat French fries on Passover? Because it's only potatoes. Well, she goes, well, how are they fried? And we're like 10. I'm like, I don't know how they're cooked. I think she finally just let us go. Fine, just have French fries, because the French fries were delicious, and they'd come in that little paper cup with the wooden fork and the ketchup over it. Oh, I don't like French fries except for McDonald's. I think they're too filling. I like them, but they're too filling. But when they come in that paper little hat, the paper boat with the wooden fork with ketchup on it, That's the most delicious of all fries. And there's a place where I grew up in around Highland Park, New Jersey, in Edison, New Jersey, called the White Rose System that still serves them like that. I got to go there and take a picture of it for you. And they have a burger called the Cali Burger with cheese, completely not kosher for anything. Oh my God. I'll tell you this story too. This is great. One time I went there with my niece, and this guy came in who we used to call him, he was so fat when we were growing up. He was huge. And I hadn't seen him in 20 years. And my niece and I were there about 7 years ago in this place, and I saw him. And I go, "Oh my God, Dan, you look terrific. You lost weight." And he did. But he was still big. And my niece later, she's cool. She's not like a normal kid. Later in the car, she goes, "That guy lost weight?" Like, you have no idea how it. Oh, yes. Oh, why is that wood? It's the wooden fork for some reason that tastes the most delicious. Oh, yes. Oh, I gotta relax. Well, how sick can I be if I'm still starving? Anyway, the best is it reminded me of this. I don't think so. Liz, do you know something we don't know?
Mike, we would have gotten a.
Yeah, we would have known. No, it's because of Gilbert. No, it has to go on because actually all the comics kind of want to get together and hang out. So I think they'll keep it going. I wonder if they would have kept it going if somebody like David Tell died. I mean, it's not like.
I think it would just be a different situation at that point. It wouldn't be a very raucous evening anymore.
Yeah. But, Gilbert didn't hang out at the Cellar a lot. I was fortunate to have him. I have a couple of photos later. No, Liz, you came in late. I'm sorry. I guess that's what we mentioned. It is tonight, the Cellar party. But Mike and I just realized we didn't need to go until 10 o'clock. So we didn't know what to do for 3 hours. And since I'm feeling under the weather or my dick is hard in Chilean, I didn't want to drink for 3 hours and make things worse. So, Angela, please. Attell's going to outlive all of us. Everybody knows that. The guy's been, he should be dead 100 times ago because just from smoking cigarettes nonstop. It's funny when he quit drinking, he's like, "I really want to smoke cigarettes, stop smoking cigarettes too." And I said, "Don't do it all. That's too much to ask." But he really smokes like a fiend. He's just always coughing and wheezing. But I think if he quit smoking now, he might die. I don't think his body can handle not smoking. That's the way I think of it in my head. Anyway, there was this old Odd Couple episode. I think it's a This Is Your Life Oscar or something. And they bring in his old elementary school girlfriend or something. I don't know whether I have it right. And it's great. And this is why it reminded me of that situation at that hamburger place, because this woman comes out and it's just such a funny line. I think Gary Marshall completely wrote, where this woman comes in and it's your old high school girlfriend. And she comes in and she's huge, this huge woman. And he goes, "Mona, you lost weight." And I remember as a kid thinking that was the funniest line I ever heard in my life, because what a twist, That's what made that show so good. You just don't expect that somebody could have actually been bigger. So anyway, yeah. What else did I wanted to say about Gilbert? I think there was something else. I went to breakfast with Nick again today, and I said, "Oh, I don't think Gilbert's going to make it through the weekend." I didn't think he was going to die today, but it's not like it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It should be a classic funeral, though. Remember when I first started this show, I'm pretty sure Gilbert and I and Jeff went to Abe Vigoda's funeral. Yeah. In fact, I even have this. I never put it on my wall, which I got from the funeral. We got to go to. I told you I was going to need a tissue. We went to Abe Vigoda's funeral with Gilbert, And, that shouldn't have been that funny a funeral, but Gilbert made it ridiculously funny. So I can only assume I didn't get to go to Joan Rivers' funeral, but I assume it should be most entertaining. One would assume that's the way Gilbert would have wanted it. So I don't know. Obviously I feel bad. I don't know whether but Gilbert has 2 kids that are 12 and 14. So that's really tough because that's a tough age to lose a parent. Now, how about Jeff Ross and how bad I feel for him? He just lost his 2 best pals within 2 months of each other, and Bob Saget and Gilbert. So I feel really bad for him. But I don't know. Fortunately, Gilbert's wife is a great person. She has a lot of friends. I think what I was going to tell you, or maybe I did tell you that, Gilbert's wife and I met 20 years ago, I think. Yeah, I said through the music industry. Did I tell this already? Now my mind is getting. Maybe I do. We met through the music industry. She came over to my house with Gil one time to do the podcast, and she goes, "Hey, I remember you now." And we didn't realize we met through this other guy who just texted me today because he couldn't believe it when he was working with Motley Crue. I used to be friends with everybody in the music industry. It was so strange. I had this other life. I had all these people at my house from K-Rock back in the day where Howard used to be on. And I threw this huge party and she was probably at my house and I didn't even realize. I threw this huge party for the radio station on my rooftop on 29th and 3rd back in the 90s and we can figure out the oh, Brian, please, nobody should hang out with me. Remember, all my girlfriends have committed suicide, so I'm sure Jeff is fine. People always say that about me. Remind me not to hang out with you. I don't want to go out with you. Anyway, it was for the anniversary. I think it was the 25th anniversary or 20th. Is that possible for Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon? Does that add? Oh, yeah. Of course, that adds up, right? The 90s. Yeah. Okay. So they had an anniversary for maybe coming out on CD. I don't know what it was. And they had a party. I'm sorry if I'm sniffing. They were doing a laser show off the Empire State Building. So my apartment was right by the Empire State Building. We had a beautiful view of the Empire State Building. And I got like a couple of kegs up to the rooftop. I had a good in with my super there. So everything was cool. And I remember I bought like a bunch of Subway subs because the music people didn't care about food. So I didn't really need a lot of catering. They just wanted to hang out and do drugs and get high and drink. So I had liquors and whatever I had. I didn't have a lot of money. I don't know how I even threw it together. But everybody from the Howard Stern show and all these people from K-Rock came to the party. And then go figure, the laser show was facing the opposite way of the Empire State Building. Whichever way I was facing, lasers were the other way. And it was mortifying because we were playing the songs from the radio from K-Rock from the station, but we couldn't really see the laser show, and no one was pissed because they just like drinking. So we still had a great time because thank God the music industry knows how to cope with stuff as long as there's liquor and drugs. So but I'm pretty sure Dara might have been at that party. So that's how we started to kind of know each other. The funny thing is, the weird part is, only 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago, February of 2020, Gilbert's 65th and her 50th, and their Gilbert and Frank's 300th podcast was the last celebration before COVID shut everything down. We had this great night of at the Cutting Room. With everybody, and I was there, and Jeff was there, and Paul Schaefer. Remember, I was sitting I think I showed you guys early on in the thing because we had Jeff on, and I was at the same table with Paul Schaefer and Susie Essman and David Yazbek, who we've had on the show, and unfortunately Jackie Martland, who I don't care for, and Alan Zweibel, who used to be on Saturday Night Live, who tweeted today. He was very close with Gilbert too. And we all went there to celebrate Gilbert's 65th birthday. I mean, he's only 67. It's exactly 2 years ago. and all these people are dying. But I keep saying, I guess once you reach 50, when you're a dude, it's crapshoot. I think people do. Yeah, remember, Brian, I had that picture of me and Jeff and Barbara Feldon. Do you remember that? Yeah, Barbara Feldon was there too, which, of course, you might remember Gilbert named his kid Max, from Barbara Feldon always saying, "Oh, Max," and he made her say it on that day. So that's why. Is it, Mike? Remember when I said I should have gotten a Kleenex?
Yep.
Maybe I feel bad to keep sniffing of everybody, but should I? Is it bad if I just go? Is it weird to go get one?
We'll go get one. It's better than just blowing your nose on your sleeve.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not that kind of person.
You don't have to go across the street, do you?
All right, you'll have to tell a story.
I never met Gilbert, unfortunately. I almost met him at Skankfest, but they made everyone leave the green room, so I never actually got a chance to meet him. But he did seem very nice every time I was around him.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, do I look okay?
Sorry,
great. That's embarrassing. Well, if you're talking about me, Aaron, I mean, or maybe you're talking to people in the chat room that seeing live, we used to perform together sometimes. And you remember he did my birthday show where, him and Sarah Silverman, it was one of my, and I called my nephew today because my nephew, he was 14, 15 at the time when we had the birthday show. And that's the greatest thing. Gilbert was the perfect comedian to have on for a 15, 16-year-old boy. And he told all his friends the jokes because Gilbert just made his standard jokes and just put my name into it. So he goes, Dave Juskow was fucking me in the ass or something like everything started off that way or something. I don't know. It was really funny. And my nephew thought that was the greatest. And Gilbert gave him like a cameo. Meanwhile, on Cameo, Gilbert used to make so much money. That was a huge business for him. Yeah, I always wonder, like, how did he make so much money and how do people know about him? How do kids that know about Cameo, like people like us know about Gilbert, and it's fun to get a thing. But, if you're making that much money on Cameo, kids have to know you too. It could have been the Aladdin thing. Meanwhile, we've also had Amy Yazbek on this show, and I hooked her up with the Gilbert's podcast because they did Problem Child together, which is interesting. Gilbert was in a lot more movies than you can, we forget how long Gilbert was around. He was, I think he might have been the first. I don't know if this is correct, but when he was on Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
Is he the one that replaced the original cast? That's the question. I can't remember. The original cast, John Belushi, Aykroyd, those people. I feel Gilbert was on maybe that next year or the season after. It was really early on. No, maybe he was on with Eddie Murphy because I always think that they were in Beverly Hills Cop 2 together because they were on SNL together. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure if one thing had to do with the other. When I heard Eddie Murphy on Mark Maron's podcast, I can't remember whether they brought it up or not. But yeah, Angela, his voice was absolutely legend. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel bad, obviously, for his wife and stuff. She really loved him. I don't know if you've seen the documentary. Now it's a good time to go see it, I guess. But that's the funny thing about him. He was such a gentleman in every way. And then when you put I was wondering how he lived this long because it seemed like he couldn't walk very well. And at my birthday show, which now I think might have just been 2019, maybe it was only 3 years ago at the Cellar. I always used to have a birthday show. I had to help him up on stage. I remember Alon had to help him off stage, or one of us had to help him because he couldn't make it up the stairs. And, that was like 3-4 years ago. So, but then it was so funny. You put him in front of the mic and all of a sudden, he was on automatic. he just, then all of a sudden well, that's the thing, Brian. He was so funny on Stern. And I think Stern wanted to know how he was doing. And I feel that's a little two-faced because they wouldn't put him back on once Stern wanted to go a different direction. Now, I understand his reasoning for going a different direction. Howard Stern wanted A-list celebrities on, Lady Gaga, Madonna, people like that, Paul McCartney, Billy Joel. And they might not have come on because Gilbert was a little much sometimes, even though he was so funny.
Yeah.
So
he was on SNL from 80 to 81.
Yeah, I believe 80 was the replacement cast.
Yeah. And then he was let go when Ebersol took over.
So he was only on for 1 year.
Looks like it.
Yeah, so he was on the replacement cast. Like, that's the hardest thing to do. The fact that he's maintained a career after replacing John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Gilda Radner, Lorraine Newman, Bill Murray is a miracle. Because I'm pretty sure everyone else from that 1980 season you never heard of before. Except for this one girl I remember, Denny Dillon. And the only reason I know about her is because she's in Saturday Night Fever. She has one line, and she's in the movie Author. And why I know this, I don't know. I guess because I thought she's stupid. And why is she on this show? Because I was so angry that they replaced the original cast. But that's the kind of stuff that I have up here. Useless information. But yeah, I was upset because they were kind of they should have had him back recently, and I think it was time to have Gilbert back on, and he had some of the funny segments. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, I know, Catalina, right? I'm my own IMDb. He like one has to do with the director of Clueless. She tried to date Gilbert. She liked quirky guys, and she wanted to go out with him, or maybe they were dating, and she had this assistant or something who was Israeli. And when the assistant picked up Gilbert at the airport, he kept talking about the Holocaust because that's what he would do, And the assistant hated him. And then they both went on Howard and just started yelling at each other. And it was the best. And if you can look that up on YouTube, just put in Gilbert, Howard Stern, Israeli assistant. It's so funny. The Israeli assistant had no sense of humor whatsoever. And he was being picked up by the airport by the assistant. He goes, so when your family was in the ovens, it was like really bad, but for us, that's what Gilbert would do, man. Which was so funny because, yeah, right, on Trump's Apprentice show, he was really that funny off the cuff. And again, when you just met him in a regular setting like this, he was quiet and refined. He was an enigma, I suppose. And he came over to my house once here to tape the podcast with Attell. And oh, that's right, Aunt Judy. That's right. My birthday is August 13th, 8/13, and I weighed 8 pounds, 13 ounces. And right, Papa Dory, my mother's father, or you also would always bet 8/13. All right, never came in. And the pick 3. Yeah, he came over to my house once, and Attell goes, oh, you know what the best thing to do is to make sure you have food for him, and you should get some trinkets. He likes trinkets. This is before the documentary came out, where we realized he loves taking home all the little shampoos and stuff. So I went to Bed Bath and Beyond and filled my cart with a bunch of those, little shampoo bottles and whatever it was. And he loved it. I had it in a little basket, and I thought he would just say, that's hilarious. But then he was like, now, how am I going to get these home? And I'm like, well, you're really going to take them? So he loved them, and he liked it. But then I had to order him a meal for the podcast, and then a meal that he was going to take home, and then an Uber or a car service, because I don't think Uber was around back then. But it was still an honor to have him in my home. And I don't think I would have wanted it any other way. That since he was as advertised. Normally that would make you so mad. Like, well, how about I eat this here and I'll take the eggplant parmesan home. Now, normally, Angela, yes, he ordered I think like a roast beef sandwich and then an eggplant parmesan. and I had it ready, and he took the eggplant parmesan home for later. And normally that would piss anybody off, but that was expected, so it didn't make a difference at all. It was so funny. He was my favorite comedian. I guess Wendy Liebman is next. No, she's going to be around for a long time. Whatever. Yeah, I know it does sound delicious. Right now I'm starving. Well, I mean, I put together some slides really quickly. Should I show them, Mike, or?
Yeah, why not? Real quick, while you get that ready, here was the cast of that year of SNL.
Denny Dillon. See? Why do I know that? Gail Eddie Murphy. First episode upgraded a repertory. So Eddie Murphy I didn't know if he was in The Replacement. So he came in December. Wow. Right. So that's amazing. That definitely 1980 was the first replacement from the people that invented the show. Who knew Eddie Murphy? So Joe Piscopo. Oh, well, yeah, but still, where's he now? Charles Rocket got fired because I think he cursed.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Eddie Murphy and Gilbert. And quite frankly, at this point, I mean, Gilbert's the only one with true staying power. Eddie Murphy had bouts, even though wait, can you put that back on?
Oh, yes.
I wanted to see something else too. What was the other stuff on there? I like this kind of stuff. Oh, episode 3. Robin Duke, right. That's when they had Joe Piss, feature players, Patrick Weathers, Laurie Metcalf. How about that, huh? That's crazy. Robin Duke, right. That's when they asked all the people from SNL to come on, from Second City TV to come on, and they got the worst ones, and Robin Duke and Tony Rosato. Right. But what they really wanted was Martin Short and John Candy. Martin Short did come later, but the way it works in my head is that they asked all the people from SCTV to come on, and they got the two worst ones.
Yeah.
And it always bothered me for a long time until finally Martin Short did come on, which of course we all know Martin Short, SNL wasn't his best work. SCTV was where he was really shining. And then of course, just Martin Short is just the shit. So yeah, I guess, all right, we'll show these pictures because what else are we doing, right? Oh wait, I just want, what else did I want to say? Nothing, I guess. But I'll tell you this though, I don't know what's going to happen with our Seder, which is a Passover thing that you do. You have this kind of ceremony that you do. There's a first night and a second night. It happens to be Friday and Saturday this year. Once on Good Friday and Saturday. I don't know how it comes. It's different every year. And you have a ceremony where you're reading from a Haggadah. That's what it's called. And you do all this stuff, and you're supposed to get drunk. You're supposed to drink a lot of wine. There's 4 cups of wine, but that was the ceremony. If you ever see the 10 Commandments, they have a Seder ceremony in there, and it's from there, like, and the Charlton Heston's like, and we will eat the unleavened bread of our forefathers. It's really weird. So as kids, it's very boring unless you have somebody great like myself running the Seder. Thank you. And you sing songs at the table, and it's really funny because for years, my sister would invite people. When I started running this ceremony after my dad died, he wasn't very good at it. And Aunt Judy's dad did it out of thing, but he wasn't a showman, but he was a delightful person. And so he used to run it. And then my dad ran it, and they weren't very good. So I was itching to run the Seder because, I like it. And then I remember when my sister's friends would come over, especially people that were Jewish, or we would always invite people that weren't Jewish because, you want them to just see what it's all about. It was a lot of fun, and I'd invite friends over for years. And, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. And I sing all the songs at full blast. And I remember people would start laughing at first because I just go for it, because I don't want to sing it meek, and you just want to kind of go for it. But then people appreciate it. They're like, David, thank you so much. That was a good, because you just got to go for it, even though you seem ridiculous singing these songs. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi. And that's the way you sing them. Really weird. Elu hoti on you, hoti on you, hoti on me Mitzrayim, hoti on you, die ain't you, die ain't you, die ain't you. It's all these songs that nobody. Well, I just did, Marcy. I know you didn't know it was coming. I didn't know it was coming either. I can't help myself. So anyway, the thing is, although I do enjoy running the Seder, although my sister uses horrible prayer books or Haggadahs now, we like the other ones. These are for like children. If the Roastmaster General is coming to the Seder, then I must relinquish the duties, because if we're having the Roastmaster General at our house, then he needs to run the Seder. Am I right, Mike?
I agree.
Yes, of course. So that's who you relinquish. And you say, ooh. Now, he didn't ask to do it or anything, but we have to ask him, would you like to run the Seder? He's the Roastmaster General. You have to let him run the Seder. So that's the thing. But yeah, then you go around the table and everybody does some lines from the Haggadah. It's kind of fun. And then you have a big meal. And then you go back and you do some more. And it's really funny. You have to find this thing called the afikomen, which is you hide it. And when you're kids, this is so Jewy. There's no other way to put it. This is what we're taught as children, as Jews. You hide this afikomen, and the afikomen is a piece of matzah that you break off, you put it in this bag, and you hide it around the house. And then you go find it. And then the children go to the leader of the Seder, which was my grandfather at the time, or anybody else, and you bargain with him for what you can get in return financially for the piece of matzah. I wish I was kidding, but I swear to God, that word was used. You have to bargain with the leader of the Seder. What religion? Where is that in the Torah? That where you have to, well, you got to bargain with. You got to basically Jew them down, is what they're basically saying. Like, my sister hates that term. And I'll never forget, it's a horrible term, but it is what it says. Well, I remember my friend Mike growing up across the street. He was Croatian, and he actually thought that was a real term, and he would use it from all the time. He just didn't know. He wasn't even doing it to be mean. He's like, well, we Jewed him down on the price, so we got a good price. And I'm like, oh, that's good for you. I didn't even get upset with him because he really had no idea. He thought it was a real term. For example, here's a good one for you. This is how unwoke we were in the 80s. When I was in college, there was this Filipino kid, and nobody knew what a Filipino kid was back then. No one. They'd never heard of a thing. There wasn't any around. I don't know where this kid came to our college. And we used to call him Tojo. And we don't even know what that means, but it's an anti-Japanese slur from World War II.
It was the name of their leader.
Oh, is that right?
Hideki Tojo.
Okay. So we used to call the kid Tojo. Now remember, we're pretty sure he wasn't even Japanese, but he was Asian. So we used to call him Tojo, and we all called him Tojo. And he was and then we just call him Toj. Like, he didn't care, because he was like me, where people would call me, what was the thing they used to call me, the son of Sam, Berkowitz. They just called me Berko, even though it was kind of an anti-Semitic slur because I was Jewish. My name was David. You just let it go, because who cares at that point, right? So we used to call him Tojo, and we used to call him Toj. And then he met this kid at school the next year, or maybe later in that year, this kid transferred, and they used to play tennis together. And this kid was a nice kid, and he's like, all right, you're served, Toj. And he goes to this one kid who he's becoming friendly with. He goes, listen, I don't want to be rude or anything, but my name isn't Tojo. He's like, it's not? What is it? It's Mark. So it was really funny that the kid was it was so matter-of-factly, the kid just didn't know that his name was Mark. And that's the way we did it back in the 80s. You just got the, like in Meatballs, they just called that kid Spaz, which I guess you could never do this day and age. And it was the funniest thing that there was. But nowadays we know better. So
yeah, he was the third. You remember, like, in old Looney Tunes cartoons, how there would be Hitler, Mussolini, and then the Asian one?
Oh, yes.
He was the Asian one.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, that's what's funny, that the guys in my college, how would they even know Tojo? What's up, Toj? So that's even worse because this guy was, he was siding with Hitler. It's funny. I think about that now. I was watching a Japanese cooking show earlier this morning. And I keep thinking how my nickname was Berkowitz. It was Burko, Liz, from David Berkowitz in 1978 when they caught the son of Sam. And this kid just goes, well, you're Jewish and your name's David. Should we just call you Berkowitz? And it stuck for 2 fucking years.
That's the exact same thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact same thinking. So I was watching this Japanese thing, and I'm like,
talking about.
oh, right, I remember that. Yeah, those World War II cartoons that you can't even air anymore. Like the Dr. Seuss books. And, you can't get mad. Yeah. Remember, people seem to forget, and this is why it's fucked up with Russia, because maybe we'll be friends with them someday, which, of course, we know that it's an inner circle of people. It's not all Russians. But it's fucked up because, we're friends with the Japanese now. There's no issues. But, my grandfather was in World War II fighting against the Japanese. It's like that. That's why I hate that movie, Pearl Harbor. They made this horrible Ben Affleck, who's the worst person ever, this movie with him. And it's supposed to be about Pearl Harbor. But then when they made it, they didn't want to offend the Japanese people. You can't have it both ways. You either make a movie about Pearl Harbor, it's going to offend the Japanese people, or you don't make it at all. But it's weird to be at war with people, and then you're just, a couple of years later, and we were okay with the Japanese, 10, 20 years later, tops. We're still not okay with the Germans. Yeah. But the Japanese, that's why I think about the Russians. I'm like, we'll probably all be friends again. So yeah, I refuse to see that movie too, Marcy, because it's ridiculous. They tried to make it a romantic love story. They didn't want to offend the Japanese. Can you imagine?
Yeah, just watch Tora.
Yeah, instead. I mean, we're our grandparents fought. I'm saying my generation's grandparents fought in World War II. Do you know what a disservice that is to not want to offend them? So why go to war at all if we're going to be friends with everybody in 20 years? Except for the Germans, they had it coming. Again, I watch Hogan's Heroes every night, so and the where they're using all those terms, goddamn Krauts. What, are we going to not be able to say that anymore too? I mean, technically it sounds bad, but boy, they did some pretty horrible stuff. But we know it wasn't everybody. But that's going to last a lot longer than the Japanese, who, by the way, their cooking is just so phenomenal. I want to go there so bad. I love watching Japanese cooking. I really just want to do a show. I've been trying to do a food show, a cooking show for years. Just cooking. I'll tell you, I was going to mention this on my podcast next week, but I'll just tell you now. I think I'd mentioned this before. I just want to have a cooking show where I can get high and watch people cooking and there's no talking. Because as much as I like Valerie Bertinelli, who played Barbara Cooper in One Day at a Time, as much as I ever had a crush on her back then, and I still have a crush on her now, who married Eddie Van Halen, and she cooks on TV, she stinks. She's just talking. And we don't need to know why asparagus brings out something in a dish from Valerie Bertinelli, right? So I'm like, I don't want to hear her talk. I just want to watch the cooking, and just have some jazz music over it and put the ingredients in. But I'm watching this YouTube thing of Valerie Bertinelli cooking the other day. Go figure. She says the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. She's making fried bananas. I know why. I was looking up a chocolate fondue recipe. I was thinking of making it on Saturday. And then it was too complicated because I got too drunk on Friday and I couldn't handle it anymore. And her recipe on fried bananas and making a fondue came up. And I'm watching her make this fried bananas recipe. And then she goes, oh, you know where I got this recipe from was Mrs. Van Halen. Oh, she was so good. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, see, now I'm drawn in. She's getting recipes from Mrs. Van Halen, and the fact that my mother-in-law, Mrs. Van Halen. Well, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. God damn it. Now she's even cooler than ever. Then she starts serving it to, I believe it's Melissa Peterman. Now, why I know her name is beyond me, but she's a very pretty plus-size actress. who used to be on the show Reba. And the only reason I was watching the show Reba was because Joanna Garcia was on it, who is the hottest girl, who's married to Nick Swisher, the baseball player. I mean, look at this roundabout thing. And then she's serving it to Melissa Peterman and I guess what, her husband or something. And then she says, well, you know who gave me this recipe? Miss Van Halen. So apparently she likes saying it too. So she knows how powerful it is. And it's fucking powerful. I mean, that is a pretty goddamn cool thing to say. Am I right, Mike?
I agree.
There might not be anything else more cool on the planet than to say, oh, you know who gave me this recipe? Oh, Mrs. Van Halen. Oh, there we were just chatting away. And she was like, you know what would be a great recipe for you and Eddie? Oh, that is so cool. You know what would also be cool? You know who I got this recipe for? The guy who played Schneider, One Day at a Time. Yeah. That's only for people my age. Ironically, for my money, just as cool.
Yeah.
I would write that one down, but for what audience would I be performing for where that would be okay? All right, let's just share the screen really quick and finish up tonight since I already put everything together. Oh, can you see it, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah. So everybody, yeah. So this is a guy who's homeless in New York City, and they're trying to clean out all these homeless people. But I mean, this looks like a regular guy, and quite frankly, that looks like a good setup. And I'm only saying it because I'm pretty sure this is going to be me in about a month. Liz, what idea should I run with? Dave's. Well, I have yeah. Which part? Just the cooking show where we just show people cooking and no talking? I agree 100% if that's the one. But I have a lot of cooking ideas. You know, during COVID, I was making these meal preps for myself. It's called I Cook on Mondays. And it's for people my own age, perhaps bachelors, who needed to eat a little bit more healthy, which is really complicated. And I would make these meal preps, and I would cook, and I'd make lunch and dinner in one day and put it in these containers that have like compartments and try and make healthy. I cook on Mondays. That would be the plan. That one I could cook and talk on. I wouldn't care. But there's no way I'm going to be like, and this really brings out the flavor. I'm just going to talk like this and be like, you know, it was Mrs. Van Halen that I believe first gave me the oh, no, it was Mrs. Attell that first told me that you could mix meat and cheese if you wanted to. I believe it was Mrs. Sarah Silverman who finally told me. I knew you would all like this picture. This dog is named Cabo Oliveira. He's a Brazilian dog who was adopted by the battalion to be a cop dog after he approached the station as an injured stray puppy.
Aww.
I know. That's the best story. He's in Rio de Janeiro. When my baby smiles at me, I go to Rio de Janeiro. Wouldn't that be the funniest thing if that cop came to your door and just like, what? And he just hands you a warrant for your arrest. But, oh, damn it. Do I have to leave now? All right. I'll just let me get my coat. Right. This is a mass protest that is not dead people. They're Ukrainian protesters lying down to symbolize murdered civilians that the Russians are doing horrible things to. This is in Berlin. This is my kind of protest. It's nice and quiet, and everybody's just taking a nap, but it's a good one. They all look so comfortable. I don't think I could protest this way. I couldn't like lie on a grass like that and be comfortable, but that's a good protest. Whereas like this is the normal ones we see. This guy's in India and he's protesting. There's people protesting other stuff. He's protesting against fuel prices. Everybody's protesting something different. But this guy, Mike, you might be the only one who knows this. I thought it was this guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Thank you. I'm so glad. Yeah. I gotta laugh. It's Salah from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Oh, Indy, my friend. Oh, I'm so glad you liked that one. See,
John Rice
this is
Davies
the
is the
protest
best.
Dave Juskow hates. It's a bunch of motorcyclists protesting against new restrictions. They're protesting against the number of allowed passengers in Colombia. What does that mean? Allowed passengers on a bike? There could be more than two? That's what you're, if that's, am I getting that wrong? How do you put more than two on a bike?
Well, I mean, I've seen it.
Well, that seems like a pretty good restriction for everybody. You've seen it?
Yeah, you haven't seen those videos of people in other countries?
No.
I'll pull them up.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. No, these protests, they happen all the time. I see motorcycles go up the Queensboro Bridge all the time in packs. It's awful. Oh. This you would think it's a Ukrainian poster, but no. This is they're the people that got screwed on a tornado in Texas. So it's funny. There's so much atrocities going on that you would have thought this was from the Ukraine, but no. It's I don't know why, but of course it destroyed their trailer home. So that seems to be a thing. Why do tornadoes? And I know somebody has a joke about this. Only seem to hit trailer parks. Whose joke is that?
Everyone from 1992.
So this, Mike, I'm hoping you're going to get this one too. This is a robot painting. It's an AI robot at the British Library in London. This was taken on Monday. And I thought this girl looked just like this one. But they did not have the blueberry pancakes. I had to get buttermilk pancakes. Nothing? Just me?
I remember.
Blueberry pancakes.
She forgot to watch.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. It was on a kangaroo stand. But they got the blueberry pancakes. I'm going to have the blueberry pancakes. That girl was so annoying, and yet I can't ever have blueberry pancakes without using it in her voice.
Oh, real quick, Dave. They're protesting a ban on male passengers. So you can't have a male passenger because of a rash of robberies.
Male, like somebody delivering the mail, or a man?
No, a person, like a male person. So, basically, there's too many robberies of a guy, I guess, jumping off a bike and then jumping back onto the motorcycle.
Oh, well, that's in Colombia too, so that makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sharing the screen again.
Okay.
I wonder if it'll come up because did I mess up? Hold on.
Here it goes.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're small. Now we're big.
Okay. So this is somebody, they're saying it's titled "Boys Cool Off on a Hot Day in India."
Look the photo again. It's just showing black right now.
Oh, it is? Okay, hold on a second. Let me stop. I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to share it again. This should work. Okay, Mike.
There we go.
Yeah. So boys cool off on a hot day in India, but it's supposed to be water. But where it's coming out of whatever this is, it doesn't look like water to me. It looks like sort of gelatinous. And if it is water, man, let's just be grateful we don't live in India. This totally reminds me of Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah, right? It looks like a paint.
Yeah, there's some paint on that can.
I just took this picture because this is like boys running in Phoenix, but it looks like it's from the 1930s. The way they're dressed.
Yeah, look at some movie about kids growing up.
Yeah, right.
Without a dad and an abusive uncle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw it. It's just a really good photo that was taken in Phoenix against a backdrop. Just exactly. It looks like a Huck Finn adventure.
Yeah, some innocuous title like Summer with Butterflies or something like that.
And these I don't know if you knew this, but there are Ukrainian refugees waiting on the Mexican side of they all apparently somehow got to Tijuana. They're waiting to come in the US. But what are they doing in Tijuana? And I would think if I was a Ukrainian refugee, I would just stay in Tijuana. That sounds like a much fun place.
You don't want to do that.
No.
That place looks like it went to war already.
Well, the funny thing is, when I went to Tijuana once for a Maxim article, I was friendly with a guy whose dad was a heart surgeon, so I guess I saw a different side of Tijuana,
Yeah.
and it was very lovely, and their house was nice up in the hills. So I'll tell you that story another time. It's a goddamn classic. Yeah, this is the European Parliament in France. Is this a thing now? I mean, it's like, everybody wants equal rights for women, but isn't this taking it a little too far?
Yeah, you wouldn't vote for Senator Baby?
What?
You wouldn't vote for Senator Baby?
Oh, no. I absolutely would vote for Senator Baby. It's just, I feel like there must be an old man in there who's just like, from the 1940s, who's just like, oh, what happened to our boys club? There's got to be a crusty old senator there that's really upset about this. And these are people in Ukraine at a charging station. Obviously, this is not a World War II photo. This is something you never think about. They need a big charging station for phones.
Those guys really want to see their Instagram.
You see? Exactly. Well, I know. Isn't that funny? Finally.
What's Call Me Chris doing?
Oh, Gilbert just died. How do you know? I just got my phone recharged. This is a statue of Genghis Khan in Mongolia. I didn't even know it existed. And
it went into a building.
Right. Well, that's the big thing. Look at this. This is like an elevator. There's an elevator here. You go in through his crotch, and then you can enter the elevator. I don't know why I found that fascinating.
It's very odd.
Yeah, Catalina's like, first they wanted rights and voting. Now they bring their kids. The decadence. That's very well put for somebody whose English is a second language. Well, Angela, I swear to God, that was I know you said that you live outside of Phoenix, but they said it was Phoenix. It's a woman who's taking some sort of, it's Miami Open tennis tournament, and apparently nobody cared. It was a guy from Norway against a guy from Argentina, except this one woman, which, of course, the first thing I thought of was our other friend from the show, Alex Sulkin, who always has Family Guy, the ostrich who sits alone. Ha ha. Unless you don't like Family Guy the way I do. Here's the Pope getting on his plane. There's nothing funnier than that. I don't know why. I have no other thing except the Pope getting on his plane. The fact that the Pope has a plane is funny. And these are the roads in Shanghai, which is completely closed down for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. Oh, but when I was looking at it, it brought back so many fond memories of when there was no traffic on the New Jersey Turnpike. It was so delightful. I'm almost hoping they close everything down again just because that was the best. But I'm assuming even if things get bad, they can't close down anything again. They just can't. No, the world can't survive.
Yeah.
And this is the final leg of that 6-day race in the Sahara Desert. These people are idiots. Who would want to do this?
The half of us won't make it classic.
Yeah, exactly. And this, the Masters was Sunday. And these are like, two of the golfers' kids having the best time. And I was just like, my dad sold bras and girdles. I can't even imagine. I hope these kids appreciate that they're just allowed to go on the golf course and play because their dads are like special. I'm so jealous.
That kid's got $500 shoes on. So
yeah, right. I hate these kids.
Yeah. These kids are no Senator Baby. I wouldn't vote for them.
And this is Tiger Woods making putt. And I just think this is so funny. Now I realize I could never be a golf pro because I can golf and sometimes I'll go to the driving range. But these people are crazy. I know they're professionals, but I always slice a ball into these people. Half of these people would be hitting the head with my golf ball. The pressure on these athletes not slicing a ball. This is not where I'd want to be, let alone why would you want to be on the tee off? watching golf is weird.
Yeah.
Because then you can't go anywhere else, right? Or can you? I don't know.
I guess they walk around. I don't know what the whole point of being there live is.
Yeah, you all just want to be around the 18th hole.
You got to
That's
try
the
not to
money
sneeze
shot.
for 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, this was a guy who was stacking vermicelli. I think that's what it's called. It's a Ramadan dish. It's used to make like sweet dishes of Ramadan, but I wouldn't want to eat this seeing it now. And the way he's handling it. I hate Tiger
weird.
Woods, so I was kind of glad he didn't do very well. I don't know why that guy rubs me the wrong way. I was glad he didn't do well. I don't know if you heard about this. There was a fox on the U.S. Capitol this week.
Yeah.
And he was like biting senators. Oh, he's so cute though. Because that's the funny thing. You go first, go up. They're like, wait, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And then you see it's like
mad
the
about
cutest
gas
thing.
prices.
The what?
He's mad about gas prices.
That's right. He's protesting gas prices. It's so weird. How does a fox show up in Washington D.C. on the Capitol steps?
Yeah.
Like, look at it. I like that. I like the standoff. Oh, you think you're going to get me with that net? I don't know.
Well, that guy's just taking a picture of him.
Yeah, no, he is. But she's like, oh, come on, Mr. Fox.
Like,
No, you don't.
I don't get paid enough for this.
That's right.
I do cats, dogs, and the occasional parrot.
Right. I'm getting too old for this shit. Yeah, Catalina's like, if I die attacked by a fox or a big kitty, know that I tried to pet it. Of course, I would have probably tried to pet that too. There's a wolf in South Boston. That's not a wolf. That's a. I heard about that, and that's a werewolf. So, here was my birthday show, August 5th, 2019, with Gilbert, our friend Alon, Matt Richards from HQ.
Yep.
Sarah Silverman was on the show too. Attell, Gary, all my friends. The Dave Jones Guy Still Alive birthday show. That was a great night. Gilbert was the best. Was this the one Sarah was on? Maybe it was another. I had a birthday show every year, so she might have been on the other one with the other host of HQ, not Matt Richards. Scott. Right, because then I have the next picture. Right. This was a different birthday show. I guess I had Gilbert on multiple birthday shows. Maybe. I can't remember now. But here's me and him. And Scott Rogowski, who was the first host of HQ. If you know what that is, this HQ, it was an online trivia show that was all the rage for about 6 months.
Yeah.
You remember that, Mike?
Yeah, because you could win money. You could win like
Yeah.
$1.
Yeah, but it was fun.
It was fun.
And I won a couple times. I got to that 12th question.
I don't think I never did that. I never got that
It was
far.
exciting. I would play every day at 3:00 in my office. It was fun.
Yeah.
And here's Sarah, because here's Sarah and Gilbert. So I don't know if that was the same show or not. And as you can see, Gilbert was quite the kind person. He was an interesting fella to know, and a really funny stand-up comic. And it's, I mean, funny in the sense, especially for people my age. I mean, talking about all the stuff I like. He would. What was the joke? Oh, he would understand the Schneider from One Day at a Time reference. There's a guy that totally got it. And he also loved. I remember I got him for his birthday. I got him a little Dracula figurine action figure, a Bela Lugosi action figure, because he loved Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
Oh,
and I got him a little action figure. I remember, and I think he really liked it. I don't think he was kidding. Maybe he was. I don't know. No, he wasn't. I know he liked it, and he loved those old movies, like Lon Chaney and all that stuff. And then he did a podcast. It's so weird. He's doing a podcast where he has all these people on before they die, and then he died. The host of the podcast. It's weird. But he got to do like 400 interviews before he did. Frank told me the last one they did was Brenda Vaccaro. I didn't know who he was, but apparently Frank was his partner. They would do the show together, the Gilbert Gottfried Amazing Colossal Podcast, and they got to be together, since COVID for the first time So at least Frank got to see him once before. Oh my God, oh my God, Aaron, that older Groucho Marx. That's when I never heard Howard laugh so much too. Howard Stern. That older Groucho was the best. So Groucho, I understand you've been fishing. Well, it sounds fishy to me. Yeah. Oh, it was the best. Well, that's our show for tonight. And we'll have more on this next week, more on this breaking, unfortunate news next week. I just hope everybody has a happy holiday, happy Easter, happy Pesach. And like I said, more in the Gilbert news. I don't know, maybe somebody will come on and join us and talk a little Gilbert next week or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I hope everybody has a really pleasant week and a nice holiday. Mike, thank you so much for producing this show today.
No problem.
And we'll see everybody, I guess, what is it, the 19th? That's 7 days from now. April 19th, the day before 420, where everybody's getting a hi, what's up? And my mom's birthday and Hitler's. So I'm very familiar with that date. So maybe we'll have a high day next week, since we'll be close to April 20th, and we'll do our own 420 dough. Oh, thank you, Marcy. That's very kind of you. Yes. Well, obviously this show is technically easy to do thanks to Mike from home. So we can still bring it to you. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you next week on the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show. Good night.